Welcome to week number 4 in Project 70, and I've waited nearly a year for a card that released today. I was really expecting his cards to look like his artwork. It is 1971 Topps. The black border is iconic. You can never go wrong with a 1971 Topps design. And no, it is not Randy Johnson by Blue the Great, although that is a heck of a name to call yourself Blue the Great. Welcome to episode number 10 of the Project 70 show. My name is Chris, otherwise known on Twitter and Instagram is at CRT_sportscards. And my website, crtsportscards.com, is where you want to go for everything related to not only Project 70, but Project 2020. And on Sunday morning on the website, I did release the first pricing for the first 24 cards that were live in the set. And I also included the foil pricing. So if you've not been on the website since Saturday or Sunday, check it out. It has the most up-to-date pricing when it comes to sales of actual cards, as I have removed most of the pre-sale data on there, because the one thing we learned in Project 2020 is a sale is not real unless a card actually changes hands. So I hope you had a fantastic weekend when it came to Project 70 and you picked up all of the cards that you wanted. And we have now, of course, seen the print runs from the weekend cards. And look, I'm not going to make too big of a deal of the Acuna Pardee card or the Albert Pujols card. Look, one was very, very high and one was very, very low. I think the big takeaway right now is we're still learning and figuring out where the set is and what is a good print run and what is a bad print run. But I'll tell you a good print run. Look, that Acuna Pardee is a really, really good number. There was a ton of press behind it. We saw Barstool Sports put out an article about it. There was a lot of mainstream media around it, and that's good for the set. The question becomes is people who bought that card, will they buy a second, third, and fourth card? And will the press continue? We will find out. But now what I did over the weekend was I realized that I had 4 big questions for Topps. And I decided to kind of do a shot in the dark here and email Jeff Heckman, who was the director of Project 2020 and now the director of Project 70, saying, hey, I've got a couple questions. Can you shed some light on things that I have questions on right now? And we had a couple emails back and forth. And thank you, Jeff, for taking the time, obviously on a weekend, and answering the questions. And so today's video, of course, is Topps answers my 4 biggest questions. And the first question, very simple, is how did you speed up the shipping times? This was, of course, to me, one of the biggest concerns of this set. When it comes to 3 cards per day, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, if these cards get delayed again, it's just going to be a repeat of Project 2020, and we all know how big of an issue that was. And when it came to what has Topps done to speed up the shipping, it's really a 3-part solution to the problem last year. Number 1, they have built up an insane amount of extra cases for Project 70 cards. So that's a great one. That was obviously the number 1 issue of the set last year, was they ran out of snap cases or the magnetic cases, and that really put delay times behind. So it's very good that they have an insane amount of reserves on the cases. Number 2, they are having the artists turn in their artwork earlier than they did last year, which is then number 3, able to get the cards to the printer early and print them before the final window is sold. Now, I will say here, I have no knowledge of how many they're printing ahead of time, but it is good to see that they're printing them early. So if they print 2,000 ahead of time and then a card prints at 4,000, it's a lot quicker to print 2,000 after the fact than it is to print 4,000 after the fact. So very, very nice work, Topps there, able to get us the cards quickly, because I received today's shipping notice for cards in the late 20s, and that is a great sign as we continue to move through Project 70. Now my second question was, why not release an entire player count or player card count ahead of time? Look, the entire set is really a hedge. When it comes to like Thurman Munson today, is this going to be the only Thurman Munson, or is there going to be cards in the future? And so there was some really enlightening details on why Topps hasn't released a final player count or checklist in a sense on the set. And it's because they don't know. The artists are allowed to change their lists. Now, listening to the artists speak about their first 3 cards in the set, those are set right now, at least to my understanding. I think Lauren Taylor has talked about her first 3 cards in certain order, but the artists can change their list, so that's great to see. So if a player is maybe coming out too frequently right now, maybe they can change their direction of the set in the future. So it's great to see that this is not as straightforward as Project 2020 is, and as the set goes on, the artists can change their lists. And that simple fact right there is why I say Project 70 is eventually going to be better than Project 2020 because this is actually about the artist and their passion versus being given a set 20 players to draw over the course of a year. But look, we'll come back to the third and fourth questions here in a second. Let's talk about the Monday cards and talk about which one was my favorite and maybe which one I'm giving away, because it's very difficult to give away a card today for free because I actually want to collect all three of them. But coming in first, of course, is Randy Johnson by Blue the Great. It is really nice to see a Mariner in the set. Although I have no connection to Randy Johnson, it is nice to see the Mariners on a uniform in Project 70. We have Reality 2 Idea, otherwise known as Joshua Vidas, with his Thurman Munson. And then we have Futura with his Jackie Robinson. Now, the one card I will not be giving away today for free, or probably any time in Project 70, is of course a Jackie Robinson card. Outside of the pre-war players I collect, there is no other, I would say, modern baseball player that I would want to watch in person than Jackie Robinson. And when you take a look at this 1987 Topps card, there's something about me when it comes to seeing Jackie in 88 Topps for first and then now 87 Topps by Futura. It just makes my heart go happy just because this was when I was a kid born in 82, growing up card collecting 87, 88 Topps, all of the early Topps sets that I had thousands of and thousands, to now kind of relive those years with Jackie on those cards, I think is a wonderful addition. So for me, personally speaking, this is just a great card overall. And now the card that I've been waiting for nearly a year on has finally released today, but the artist got it about 80% right. I was hoping for 100%, but I will take 80% as this is the closest that he has come to my desire for his set. And I'm talking about Joshua Vidas with his Thurman Munson. And if you know anything or look up Joshua Vidas, otherwise known as Reality 2 Idea, his strength is in black and white, tracing, outlining, sort of really doing things in 3 dimensions. And I've always said I want a black and white set from Joshua Vidas, and we got pretty darn close here with this Thurman Munson. So when it comes to giving it away, it's difficult for me to give this away because I'm hoping that there are going to be more cards in line with this black and white style. So I'm buying it now. But if Vidas goes back to what he did in Project 2020 or goes away from the black and white card, I will sell this. So for now, I'm hedging that he will continue to release black and white cards. But I was very, very happy to see him nearly get their black and white because that is his strength. And I still say an entire black and white set in Project 2020 to some would be boring, but to a lot of us it'd be a fantastic set because it'd be so distinct and it would stand out so incredibly well. And so just by process of elimination here, that means the Randy Johnson by Blue the Great will be the giveaway on Monday night. So right now, number 1, be subscribed to the channel, and number 2, put that print run guess below. The person nearest the print run without going over will win a free copy of the card from me. But when you take a look at this card, what do you think about when you see this card? Yes, there are some cartoonish figures about this card or design styles about it, but the cool thing here is when you look at the background being just a solid color, or basically it changes colors towards the bottom, you can really picture Randy Johnson wherever you want to. When I take a look at this card, I think of Randy Johnson pitching in the Kingdom in his early years. You could even think of him in a Yankee uniform or maybe an Expo or a Diamondback. It's really up to your imagination, but the simplicity of the background leaves this card up to your interpretation. And of course, that is one great thing about Project 70. And now getting back to my third and fourth questions here for Jeff when it comes to Project 70. The third one, of course, I think is everybody's question right now. Why is there such a big disparity in the Yankees and the Dodgers this early in the set? And it's very simple, actually. It's because a lot of the artists grew up or living in New York and LA. And for example, on the Dodgers, they have a lot of current and active retired players that are stars that people want to release cards in. So, if they had picked up a bunch of artists from Montreal, we'd have a ton of expos right now. So it's kind of a product of where the artists are gaining their inspiration from. But he did also say nearly every team will be represented in the set. He didn't say all 30 directly, but I got the idea that all 30 teams will be in the set. And he said 100 plus players. And so if we have 100 players in the set, that means there's going to be on average a 10 card set. If we get to 120, 130, 140 or more than that, it's going to even be less per player on average. So it's going to be great to see over 100 players in the set, and it's also going to be great to see how many players end up in the set and if all teams are represented at the end of the day. And then the fourth question here, I think, is to help everybody's budgeting over the next 6 to 7 months in the year. I simply asked, when is the set going to end? And he said right now, all that he can say is the cards are going to increase in frequency when it comes to releasing per day, but he would not say when the set ends. So we can almost guess that if they decide to release 4 per day or 5 per day in the future, this set could end in 2021. So if you're thinking about a budget in Project 70 right now when it comes to the end of 2021, start thinking about having to buy 4 to 5 cards a day, because this could get very expensive quickly if you don't properly budget. So we're off to another strong start when it comes to week number 4 in Project 70. I don't think, though, we're going to see 14,000 on any of these Monday cards, but you never know. The fans could surprise us. With that, have a fantastic Monday evening, and I'll see you back on Wednesday night for episode number 11 of the Project 70 show.